In this tutorial, we're going to talk about JavaScript strings. JavaScript strings are one of the three simple data types. We have strings, booleans, and numbers. To really simplify things, we can say that strings are human language. If it's something that you're going to see on a computer screen, then it's going to be a string. We create a string by saying, let's create a variable, and we're going to say var, and I'm going to say name. And I'm going to give it a value, so I'm going to say equal signs, right? So the next thing we do to make a string is we're going to use double quotation marks. Now I don't mean double quotation marks as in like we can use single quotation marks, but there has to be an opening quotation mark and a closing quotation mark. So this is a string, but it's empty. There's nothing inside of it. So let's go ahead and put some text in here, and I'm going to say Tanner. So now we have a variable that has a value, which is a string. And we can know this is a string by the fact that it has two quotation marks around it. If it doesn't have quotation marks around it, it's not a string. So I want to console log this out, just like we did in the last video. I want to say name. So I'm going to console log, parentheses, name. So I'm going to run this program, and look, we get Tanner. But what happens if I say var favColor? So here I'm creating a variable called favColor. What if I say favColor equals red? What is going to happen when I try to console log favColor? Let's find out. I'm going to clear my console. And look, I get an error. It says red is not defined. And it says that it's not defined because it's looking for a variable. Because there's not quotation marks around the word red right here, it thinks that this is computer code. So my computer comes across this and it says, hey, there's no strings around this, and because it's not, there's no quotation marks around this, and because there's no quotation marks around this, it must be computer language. And so we can tell it that, hey, this is human, and we can put some quotation marks around it. So now we can console log favColor, and we won't get that error anymore. We'll just get Tanner and red. So to repeat this, a string is simply human language. It's something that you can see on a website. You will never see a variable. You'll only see what it has as its value. So a string is human language, and it can be seen on a screen.